What's up, guys? And today I'm looking through the 2025 fixture, which came out about 3 hours ago. I'm just going through the whole fixture and telling you guys what I think about it, what's good about it, what's bad about it, and a point of view as a Crow supporter as well. So here goes nothing. The first game we have here is Brisbane Geelong season opener. That should be a good game at 7:20. Sydney v Hawthorn on Friday night. That's also a good game. I don't know, Gold Coast and Essendon. Sunday, GWS and Collingwood. Let's go to round one. And we begin things off with the traditional Richmond v Carlton game at 7 p.m. Friday night, Hawthorn Essendon. Saturday, Geelong Freo. Sydney v Brisbane grand final rematch, that should be good. Western Bulldogs and North Melbourne at the 7:05 slot, and Collingwood and Port. Sunday, the first Crows game, 12:05, Crows and Saints. I think that is quite early. So basically I'll have to get to the game at like 11 since I go to the games, so see about that. Melbourne and GWS at 2:50 and West Coast and Gold Coast at 5:40. Second round we have Carlton and Hawthorn Thursday night. That should be a very enthralling contest. That's going to be quite a good game. Friday will be the Bulldogs' 100-year anniversary, I believe, against Collingwood, which was announced on Tuesday, I think. Saturday is us against Essendon at the MCG at 12:50. Port Richmond, St Kilda Geelong, Brisbane West Coast, North Melbourne Melbourne, Freo Sydney, and Gold Coast GWS with the byes. Round 3, we have Essendon v Port on the Thursday night. Friday, Carlton and Western Bulldogs. We have Melbourne and Gold Coast on Saturday. St Kilda Richmond at 3:45. Hawthorn GWS at UTAS. So Saturday night in Launceston. Okay. Sunday 2:50, Crows at North Melbourne. And that's going to be, there's only going to be 2 games on the Sunday, which the last one is the Derby. Round 4 now. Collingwood and Carlton on a Thursday night. I really think this should be a Friday night. This will get more interest if it's on a Friday night. The Friday night, however, is Geelong Melbourne. I really think that should be a Thursday night. Like, swap the games over. Saturday is Gold Coast and Crows at 12:50. Richmond Brisbane and North Melbourne Sydney. So North Melbourne actually get a Saturday night game, pretty much prime time. GWS West Coast, Port St Kilda and Freo Western Bulldogs with Hawthorn Essendon having the byes. Now gather round. So Thursday night, Geelong. Out of all teams, we have to play Geelong, which I'm not too happy about, but I'll take that we get the opener though. Friday night we have Collingwood and Sydney. That should be a good game. North Melbourne Gold Coast in Barossa in Linddock. Carlton West Coast at 12:50. 3:45 Western Bulldogs Brisbane at Adelaide Oval. No, Norwood Oval. I don't know why. And Melbourne Essendon 7:05 at Adelaide Oval. They really should have like a triple header or something. Like, why is there such a big gap? There's like a 3.5 hour gap between Carlton West Coast and Melbourne Essendon. Like, that is not ideal. Richmond Freo on the Sunday at Barossa again. St Kilda GWS, and the final game of gather round is Port and Hawthorn. That's probably going to be the best game of the lot, I reckon. Now round 6, which is the Easter long weekend. Brisbane Collingwood, the now traditional Thursday night game. Friday we have North Melbourne and Carlton on the Good Friday, and West Coast Essendon on the game after. Melbourne Freo on the Saturday, then Crows and Giants at 3:45, twilight game. Richmond and Gold Coast at 7:05. I really think these time slots are wonky. Like, we've never seen these time slots before, which, I don't know, I haven't really got much of a thought about this, but yeah. Sydney and Port on the Sunday, and Bulldogs St Kilda, and then here's the traditional Easter Monday game, which is Geelong and Hawthorn. Round 7, we have Melbourne, Richmond, Collingwood, Essendon. And the Crows, we have a Friday night game, Anzac Day game against Freo in Perth. That's going to be very hard, and I mean, I don't think the Crows have played in an Anzac Day game before, on a prime time at least, since, I don't know, St Kilda and Brisbane on Saturday, Port North Melbourne, GWS Bulldogs, Gold Coast Sydney, Carlton Geelong, which that should be probably like on a Saturday night or something. Hawthorn West Coast. Round 8 now. Essendon North Melbourne on a Thursday night. That's interesting. I don't know how North Melbourne got a Thursday night game. Friday, St Kilda Freo. That's probably only going to get like 20,000 people. Western Bulldogs and Port at Ballarat. Crows and Carlton at 3:45. Collingwood Geelong at the MCG. West Coast Melbourne at the same time at 7:05 in Perth. Sydney GWS, the Sydney Derby. Hawthorn Richmond and the Q Clash at 6:50. Round 9, we have Freo Collingwood on the Thursday night. Friday, St Kilda Carlton. So St Kilda get 2 Friday night home games in a row. Melbourne Hawthorn at the MCG. Essendon Sydney, Gold Coast, and Western Bulldogs, and the showdown at 7:40, the Port home showdown. Richmond and West Coast at the MCG, Geelong, GWS, North Brisbane. Round 10. Gold Coast Hawthorn in Darwin. Sydney Carlton. Collingwood against the Crows. Port Geelong. GWS Freo. There's 2 games at 3:45. Okay. Bulldogs Essendon. Richmond North Melbourne. Brisbane Melbourne and Bulldog and West Coast and St Kilda. Geelong and the Bulldogs at GMHBA. So we have the dream time at the G Clash on a Friday. I think this should be on a Saturday. I really think this should be on a Saturday instead. Like, probably swap Freo, Port and Essendon Richmond over. Carlton GWS, Hawthorn Brisbane, North Collingwood. Crows and West Coast, Melbourne, Sydney and St Kilda and Gold Coast on the Sunday. Round 12. Brisbane, Essendon on the Thursday night. Friday night, Collingwood and Hawthorn. This will probably be the game of the round. Gold Coast Freo, GWS Richmond, and the last game of Saturday, Swans and Crows at the SCG. Sunday, Melbourne, St Kilda and Bulldog and far out. West Coast and Geelong, with Carlton, North Melbourne, Port and Bulldogs having a bye. Round 13, we have Bulldogs and Hawthorn on Thursday night. This would be probably quite an intriguing contest. Friday night, Crows and Brisbane. We have a home Friday night game against Brisbane. Wow, okay. Richmond, Sydney at the MCG. Geelong, Gold Coast, GWS Port. North Melbourne, West Coast in Bunbury. So this is the Bunbury game. They're playing West Coast. Carlton, Essendon, Melbourne, Collingwood, the traditional Big Freeze game. St Kilda Freo having the bye. Round 14, we have St Kilda Western Bulldogs on the Thursday night. And again, the Crows have a Friday night game. But this is as hard as you can get against Hawthorn at UTAS, which will be the first Friday night game in Launceston ever. Brisbane GWS on the Saturday, Essendon Geelong, North Melbourne Freo, Port Melbourne and West Coast and Carlton, and Collingwood, Gold Coast, Sydney and Richmond having the bye. Round 15, so this is the last of the confirmed times until May next year. Freo Essendon, first game. Geelong Brisbane on the Friday night, which that should be a good game. Carlton North Melbourne on the Saturday. Port Sydney, Collingwood St Kilda at Marvel. Okay, at Marvel. GWS Gold Coast, Bulldogs Richmond, and that's it. And the Crows, Hawks, Melbourne, Eagles have a bye. And this is just matchups, so go through them. Collingwood West Coast, Crows and Richmond, Gold Coast Melbourne, Port Carlton. So there's buys in round 16. So they have the buys over 5 rounds next year. Oh, why 5? 5 rounds? Bloody hell, I just realised this and I looked at the fixture previously. Far out. And the Friday night game in this, or Thursday night, will probably be Port and Carlton and probably Sydney Bulldogs. Round 17, Geelong Richmond, St Kilda Hawthorn, Carlton Collingwood, that will be the Friday night for sure. Has to be. Brisbane Port, that might get a slot. But we'll see. Round 18, GWS Geelong. We have to play in Ballarat again. Far out. It's always so hard there. St Kilda Sydney, Carlton Brisbane, which should be the probably prime time game. Richmond Essendon, Gold Coast Collingwood, and that's about it. Well, round 19, Geelong Saints. I'm just skimming through these, so I only say a couple of notable games. Collingwood Freo, Hawthorn Port in UTAS, so they have to play there too. Crows and Gold Coast, and the prime time probably Carlton and Melbourne maybe. Geelong Saints possibly. Round 20, GWS Sydney, the Sydney Derby. Richmond Collingwood, Hawthorn Carlton, which probably will be the prime time for this round. Friday night game. Crows Port, showdown. And this is the round of rivalries. 4 of the interstate rivalries are in the same round. All 4 are in the same round. This is probably going to be the best round out of the lot. Round 20, the one to watch. Round 21, we have Geelong Port, St Kilda North, Collingwood Brisbane, Crows Hawks. I think round 21 is, apart from I guess Freo Carlton and not really the best matchups. So round 20 is going to be an absolute vibe, and round 21 is going to be not the best round, but we'll see, eh? Alright, now round 22, Geelong Essendon at GMHBA. GWS and North Melbourne. Carlton Gold Coast. Hawthorn Collingwood. That would probably be the game of the round, and the Crows play West Coast. Port against Freo. And the second grand final rematch is on round 22, Brisbane Sydney. Right, now round 23, there's Essendon St Kilda, Carlton Port Adelaide. The expansion cup, or whatever you want to call it, is on this round. And Crows and Collingwood. So the Crows have to play Collingwood twice next year. Freo Brisbane, Sydney Geelong. Round 24, the final round, which the times and dates for this will be released probably a couple weeks before the home and away season finishes, which is probably a bit late. And Crows are up against North Melbourne. Once again away from home. I think the last time we have had a home game on the last game of the home and away season is like 2017 or something. So very long time ago. I can't even remember the last time, but yeah. And Collingwood, Melbourne, Essendon, Carlton. So the last round is actually going to be good with those couple of matchups. Or really one, I should say. And that's it for the 2025 AFL fixture. I'm actually going to check whether Geelong play Collingwood. When do they play? Do they play twice? So no. So Collingwood avoid playing at GMHBA once again. So they don't play in Geelong for the first time since 1999. Although Essendon have to. And that's pretty much it out of the big sides. And that's it for the 2025 AFL fixture.